In, there is a sign-in sheet outside the door. Please make sure to do so, so we have the record of your attendance. All right. I guess please call the roll.
Clark Taylor.
Here.
Blake Allison.
Here.
Ben Berry.
Here.
Jared Castile.
Here.
Mayor Elliott.
Here.
Bill Estes.
Here.
And Alma, Walt, and Bonnie are absent.
All right. Item number 1 is to approve the minutes from the July 21st, 2026 regular meeting. Any comments or motion?
Second.
All right. Motion by Bill, second by Jared. Please call the roll.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Jared Castile.
Aye.
Clark Taylor.
Yes.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Ben Berry.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
All right, item number 2 is public hearings. We are opening the floor for public hearing for anyone that would like to speak on anything that is not on the agenda. We do have the annexation exit 33 that is on the agenda, so that will be a separate item if you're here to speak for that. But if you're here and you would like to speak on something that is not on the agenda, now is the time. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Item number 3 is the consent agenda, which there is none. Item number 4 is old business. Item number 5, new business. We are removing item A, which is the architectural renderings, and we'll go straight to item B, which is a request by Brown Revocable Family Trust, care of Travis Henry, for consideration of an ordinance to zone 0.46 acres of property located along 25th Street from R2 low density single multifamily to PI professional institutional tax map 41M group I parcel 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Part of the course, I forgot to turn my mic on. 1 second. There it goes. We'll need that. So yes, thank you. Item 1 was removed. We'll hopefully see it next month. Item 2 is rezoning request on 25th Street. This one was submitted a few months ago. This is the property that is directly across from the Church of God offices. They had an existing deed restriction that covered that neighborhood. And through the process, we told them we don't enforce deed restrictions, but we will not fly in the face of them. And so therefore they went through the neighborhood, here's the property in question, and got enough signatures to remove that clause in their restrictions. So their request is to zone to PI, professional institutional, for the use of an office. So staff supports that request. It's on 25th Street, and now that deed restriction and the neighborhood have signed off on that, then we're in support of it. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Robert?
I got 2.
Sure.
I remember this the last time.
Yes, sir.
What was the number of signatures needed and to meet?
The threshold, it's 50 plus 1 of the neighborhood, so.
And you consider the neighborhood being?
Well, so they're going to be individually phased. It was phased, so it's whatever that phase is.
Was, okay.
Yes.
Second, that's fine. Second question is ingress and egress.
Yes.
Can you speak to that? Because it bothers me as it is now.
Yeah, and I think through the site review process, we'll let Dave Shealy definitely weigh in on that, but there is an existing driveway cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will likely aim to have that adjusted.
Now would be the time, right?
That's correct. Once, because when it changes to an office, it actually gets a change of use. It hits this criteria to where they have to do a full site plan, address, parking, etc. And so we'll go through all those measures and make sure that, it's as good as it can be. I mean, it's on 25th Street and it's a small lot, so.
Well, with the stoplight right there, I think it's just dangerous and pit of the hill.
I understand. Yeah, no, I agree. My expectation is that we will see a few more of these houses along 25th Street moving in this direction now that this first hurdle has been cleared. So we'll have to look very carefully at that access control.
That's all.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak against this item? Seeing none, any other comments or motion on this item?
Move to approve.
Motion by Blake,
Second.
second by Bill. Please call the roll.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Mark Taylor.
Yes.
Jim Berry.
Aye.
Jared Castile.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
All right. Item C is a request by Deerfield Capital LLC and Turner Homes for consideration of ordinance to amend PD 40 by changing the 10-foot and 3-foot side setback to 5 feet on both sides. This PD amendment includes tax map 34, parcel 55, and I'll be recusing myself from this item.
Yes, thank you. This is a situation, when this originally came through, the 10 and 3 was an, pretty commonplace side setback. It has shifted gradually over the years, with more and more folks looking at the 5 and 5. Their request to do this is specifically for the ability to build a little bit larger house, is my understanding. They get more footprints and more diversity out of the lots they can build on, the types of houses they can build on, which to me is a win. And being that we've been pretty consistent with the 5 and 5 of recent, staff looked at this and thought that this was something we could support, and we do recommend approval. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those now.
Any questions?
And it is the neighborhood there on North Lee where the work is ongoing. You've probably seen it.
Those are already 50 foot.
50. It's actually a little bit wider lot. Yeah.
There's
But
a mix of 46 and 55s.
yeah, it's averaged out. So
Move for approval. Change to the
Second.
All right, is there anybody here to speak against this item? All right, seeing none, we have a motion by Bill, second by Blake. Please call the roll.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Mark Taylor.
Yes.
Ben Berry.
Recuse.
Jared Castile.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
All right, item D is a request by Robert Thompson, Kelly Beard, Jim Logan for consideration of ordinance to zone .46 acres. Property located along North Ocoee Street from PI to CN, tax map 42P, Group H, Parcel 2.
yeah, this is one that is zoned PI. It's on Ocoee Street. I'm going to go ahead and show you the location. It's in the vicinity of Weeks Drive. Just to the south, a few parcels, there's highway commercial zoning. There are existing residents that back up to this, and so the requested use is for a tea house, and that does not work in PI. So what we looked at is what I feel is probably our most underutilized zoning designation in neighborhood commercial. It has enforcement mechanisms for hours of operation and things like that give us the ability to say, you can't be up late and things like that and impact the residences around them. So that's the direction we recommended they go. That is what they've requested. We've received, I think, a few calls on this one and questions, so there may be some of these folks that are actually here for that one. But I'm happy to answer any questions if you all have it.
The CN is underutilized. It's a great buffer for commercial against residential. This is near my house, so I see it every day.
Yeah.
So any questions for Robert? All right, is there one here to speak against this item? We'll come to the podium, please. If you'll just state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, we have several residents here. My name is Joy Rice. I live at 110 Overbriar Drive. So we back up to this potential tea house. I do have a handout here. We are opposed to this change. We feel like that the property that backs up to us, that this is not compatible with our neighborhood. If you change the designation from professional to commercial, what will be the next step after that? You know, you open it then to other types of commercial businesses. We think there's going to be increased traffic, lighting issues, evening hours. So we would need to know that right now it's a professional business, so it's 8 to 5. Doesn't impact the owners. We have 14 residents right there, and some of these are within 15 yards of their back parking lot. So that would impact the quality of life for our residents. We also feel like that you're spot zoning because you're taking one piece of property that's in the middle of 3 other properties and saying, okay, we're going to change this. So that's a benefit to that property owner at the expense of all of our residents. And as I detailed there in the handout, there are a lot of other considerations that we would like for you guys to think about before you approve this.
Anyone else here to speak on this item?
We can't hear. We can't hear.
Is there anyone else here to speak on this item?
On which item?
This is the
We can't hear anything back here.
Yes.
this is the rezoning on North Ocoee Street for from professional institutional to commercial.
Yes, of course, I'm Carrie Dora Jones. I am the owner of Magnolia Meadow that would like to, of course, have the property if possible. So what we plan to do with the property is quite simple. We're going to make it into a tea room and a Southern cuisine restaurant. We will be providing a lot of jobs to the community and other things of that nature. It is something that I'm a little nervous, and I wasn't expecting to speak. Something that can really benefit Cleveland. We do not have something like this, where people can come and they can interact, and they can just have a cup of tea, or they can have just an old-timey meal like from their grandmothers. Things of that nature is what we would love to be able to bring to Cleveland. That property for us, we will eventually would like to purchase the property, but for us, it's have the magnolias, it's have everything that can make Southern charm, the Southern traditions that we all so value here. So I really would urge you to please reconsider everything that was said here and approve this for us for the town city of Cleveland, because we will be providing jobs and we will be respecting the community, the residents behind it, because we knew that they might have some opposition, and I don't blame them for that. But I do want to bring something like this to Cleveland and bring back the history and honor the history of Cleveland. So thank you.
Rob, what's the future land use right through there?
Which is a basic level kind of brush. It is commercial in a sense. The PI is probably the lowest level commercial zoning. Neighborhood commercials right there with it. Then you start getting up. Highway commercials, you can see, is just to the south. But that section goes to the 2 weeks drive right there is commercial.
Can you help me remember colors?
The purple that I guess is what it is, the bluish purple is the PI. The red is the highway commercial. See an orange that is R3. The yellow is R2. And then we've got the PUD that sits there on Sunset at the end.
Is across the street like agricultural, farm, rural, belt, something?
It's zoned R1, but you know, they do have a barn there.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yes.
So CN is really a transitional zoning between, going from an arterial of buffering between arterial and a neighborhood in the back. Just,
Yeah.
it's kind of like PI.
That is, and it's also meant to be corners in the middle of residential areas, small, I mean, it's meant for small corner neighborhood shops and things like that. That's really what it was originally geared for. It's just never utilized that much.
And CN is also one of our few zoning districts that has restrictions on hours of operation. PI does not.
That's right.
It has restrictions on lighting, which PI does not. It has things built in to be a good neighbor to residential, which really unique in that is one of our only zonings that does.
That's accurate. Yeah. It's the only zone that has an hour of operation.
Can I put you on the spot and ask you what the hours of operation restrictions are?
I believe it's 10. Yeah, 10, 7 to 10.
7 to 10?
Yeah.
And what does the lighting restriction look like?
Well, it mentions not shining lights on residential areas and casting a glow onto those.
I think it's, general shielding requirement.
Maybe limited monument signage instead of no pylon, or maybe no pylon sign. And I think maybe too that I know PI that's rear setbacks pretty limited to 10 feet. Maybe it adds another, 15? 20?
It does. And in this case, the property owner has mentioned to me he has no intentions of doing any site work. The parking that's there is what is there. That was his words to me. He's not looking to increase that, take down trees or do things like that.
All right, any other comments or motion?
Could I say that, she's asking for, or the owners are asking for PI. From PI to CN. And if that changes, I know she has a plan, but once the zoning's changed, she could leave, sell the property, and other things can go in there, right?
There's similar type uses to PI with the exception of the restaurant. And so the biggest restriction for that lot is access and size. It's pretty constrained as is, which is why it's been vacant for some time. But that is accurate. The property owners have no intention of selling out, but they could. That zoning would stay with them.
Any other comments or a motion?
Can I speak?
Oh, yes.
Hi, Dr. Sean Jones. I own Magnolia Health PLLC, and I'm a business owner on Ocoee Street. I just sold the building and relocated around the corner. But the property's already commercial, like you had mentioned. And we're just changing the zoning just a little bit to be a little more flexible with the restaurant. And my wife's always wanted to have a restaurant. And it's going to be a very nice addition to the place. She wants to be able to hold, Christmas parties, different things for in the holiday season and stuff, to have tea rooms. And we have one down in Ottawa. We don't really have one up here, and that's what her whole goal is. She's a great cook, and she wants to have a restaurant with it. So I don't think it's anything that's going to hinder the residents. I live on Ocoee Street too. In a commercially zoned property, I got a waiver to live in it, but there used to be a title company also, and that's our home too. So we're right there. We live in this area. We're not going to tear up the neighborhood or anything, and it's going to be a great project. I hope you guys vote in favor of it.
Then, Robert, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Parking.
Yes, sir.
PI currently, you go to commercial neighborhood, there are requirements there.
So, the use is where that changes, and so we base it on table count restaurant situations.
Okay.
So if the property owner stated he has no intention of expanding that parking lot, they'll be constricted to that number, if that makes sense, through the building plan.
restricted on tables, on parties, on,
Right. All of the above.
okay.
Yeah. Assembly.
How many parking spots are there currently?
I believe it's something like 8 to 10, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm trying to count them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some parking in the rear as well,
There is.
frequenting that whole title. What, in my opinion, what helps this site is a commercial neighborhood is there as a buffer between residential and commercial. That's fairly common, although it's underutilized. We've been, I think, utilizing PI quite a bit in place of that at times. Your question about parking is warranted. There isn't a huge amount of parking,
No.
but that will be handled within the building
It is.
use plan.
Yeah, I think the parking has been one of the hurdles to that site, from what I understand.
Was there ever any interest from the adjoining properties to take this in toto rather than right in the middle, singular?
Well, how do you mean? So,
So like across from Cleveland Middle, going out, try to get the property owners to come together to make that
right,
PI, and they got close.
yeah.
But we looked at it as a block of homes, not singular like this.
Yeah, well, and I understand.
So then I'm
now
asking, yeah, has there been any interest from the other two PIs?
The property at the corner next door, which is the newer construction that looks residential in a way, but is not.
Right.
They've looked at a number of options that would have required some level of rezoning, food-wise, and event-wise. Currently, that's not in discussion, but it has been brought to our office in the past. And I have, the one just to the south, the two just to the south are vacant properties. And one has been consistently for sale. And then the highway commercial is an occupied piece.
If I can add something, the one to the south is owned by one of our residents, and it was purchased so that nothing would go in there. The one to the north is owned by the Church of God.
So what she said, and I'm just saying this for the record, but the microphone may not pick it up. That's, is that the one to the south is owned by the current resident of her neighborhood. And the other one, I believe, she mentioned was owned by the Church of God.
So really, our PI almost allows more uses than, or in today's world, retail is service. PI allows more service use than even that neighborhood commercial.
It does. There's a lot you can do in a PI, just not this one thing. It's an interesting, and I think that's something me and my staff probably should look at. Is what is that line? But when I look at these zonings like this, they're almost interchangeable with the exception of a few minor uses.
I love the idea of having restaurants close to neighborhoods, especially when the safeguards like hours of operation and lighting are in place. So I love it.
Excuse me, my condo is directly behind the building.
If you want to speak, please come to the podium, please.
It does, okay. He'll speak for me.
Can everybody? Whoa, hello. We can hear everybody now. We're starting to rock. Woo! All right. Hey guys, sorry. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. My name's Dax Spencer. I live actually at 125 Overbriar. This house directly faces the back of my condo and Bobby's. What these ladies simply don't want is lighting and lights into the back of their homes. They've lived there for many years. I've been there 2 years. There's 6 spots there maybe to park. Okay, total. You can't really expand it. It sounds to me, and what little I know, is PI allows for a lot of things to go there, minus a restaurant, if I'm understanding it correctly. these ladies don't want a restaurant pointing into the back of their condo. That's simply it. Okay, and nor do I. So that's all they're asking.
So, thank you, Dax.
Yeah.
So I think the discussion that's being had here is that it seems like commercial neighborhood zoning is in many ways not really even an upzoning here. That you can do less essentially, and you're more protected than you would be under PI. It also sounds, as Robert has suggested, that this can't be a Aubrey style restaurant,
Yeah, sure.
or you know what I mean. It's just simply limited in the number of parking spaces, therefore the number of tables that they're going to be able to have in this tea room or tea house. So while I am 100% sympathetic to not wanting the zoning change to have a significant impact on your living environment, I 100% get that. It seems like in this instance, essentially allowing this tea room isn't changing a whole lot about what the actual activity on this parcel is going to be, other than potentially later than 5 o'clock business hours, which would be limited per the zoning requirements to 10 o'clock, as Robert suggested.
I think their concern is it's a tea room today. What is it? 2 months, 2 years from now, right? Obviously, it's limited in what it can do and lighting, and I understand all that. I'm just here to speak on behalf of what shines in as you pull up and park into the 6 spots are there into these ladies' back window at those hours of operation.
Thank you.
I'm almost shocked at how
Thanks.
little you can do in neighborhood commercial. One thing you don't have to worry about, right now you put animal boarding, kennels,
Microphone.
and PI. Then you can't neighborhood commercial. So I don't know if I want to, it doesn't work for y'all. Y'all don't have anything else to do there.
All right, any other comments or motion on this one?
And guys, if you want me,
Go ahead.
I am open to any questions that I have for me.
All right, we need a motion.
Before the motion, may I ask how many residents that are going to be affected by this zoning change are opposed to it?
We can't hear you.
If you are a resident and you're opposed to it, would you raise your hand? I'm just interested in how many people here are opposed to it. We got this letter.
We can't hear you.
If you're opposed and you're here, raise your hand, please.
Opposed and a resident, is what she said.
Yeah. Opposed and a resident.
There's an Overbriar condominium association, but we don't know how many are involved in that. I'm sorry.
She was asking if you're opposed and a resident, please raise your hand, which we saw that. Thank you.
Question. She has a question.
I am the owner of the front lot to the south. Will this change my zoning? Will this be spot zoning? Will this be complete zoning? What will I be changed to?
Do you mind just stating your name for the record, just so we have it on the record?
I'm sorry,
please?
I
Can you state your name, please?
Oh,
on
I'm
the- for the
sorry.
record?
Judith Fisher.
So no, this would not change anything with your property. It would just change where the zoning for the white.
So it's not a spot zoning, it's a complete zoning,
The zoning request would just apply to the area highlighted. in
just
blue.
theirs. Thank you.
All right.
Robert, can you hear that? Goodness. Robert, is there any sort of buffering in between the two? I mean, I know neighborhood commercial is supposed to act like a buffer, but is there any required buffer based on the use between a neighborhood and a restaurant?
The buffer's based on zone,
Okay.
So whatever buffer should have been installed, I can't speak to whether it was, this was done a long time ago. Actually, I think possibly before the townhomes were not, or the neighborhood, I'm not 100% sure. There is a buffer requirement, and so,
That's my question.
yeah. It doesn't, the buffer requirement doesn't adjust based on the difference between PI and NC. It would be consistent.
Since there is a rezoning, to have the buffer updated, since there is a rezoning, to require whatever buffer is supposed to be there would be, I think, prudent.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
If there is a required buffer, do you know what that may be between PI and residential?
It's probably 15 to 20 feet with the line of evergreens and then periodic shade tree.
Is there any buffering currently?
I don't
Just
believe
ask that.
I don't believe there is. No.
What if you do a fence?
Yeah.
The fence
Does
is
the
an
fence
option.
solve the problem? Just out of curiosity. You either can't hear us or it's screaming at you. Does a fence solve the problem?
No, a fence does not solve the problem
Why is that?
because the property's elevated looking down on her condo. Property's here, her condo's down here. She's going to build a pretty large fence that's going to off.
I have a picture of the,
Yeah, sorry, you'll have to speak at the microphone.
I have a picture of the property from my bedroom window. The only thing between my bedroom window and the building is a shrub right there. If you'd like to see it, I'll be happy to show it to you. That's how close it is to my bedroom window. I do not have to speak. That shrub right there is the only thing between my bedroom window and that drive. There's a parking place though. Well, I lost it.
Ma'am, can you go back to, can you state your name for the record at the podium, please?
My name is Bobby Campbell, and I live at 119 Overbriar Drive.
All right, thank you.
And this is directly behind my condo. The drive is very small, the parking area, but every car that comes in, the lights would shine through my bedroom window at night. So I highly object to it.
If I could say something too. I live on Ocoee Street. I have lights constantly coming in my front. I just turn the shade. The lights don't bother me at all when I sit in the living room or anything. You just close the shades if a light bothers you. That's what I do. I live right at 20th and Ocoee there. And there's lights all the time coming
Are
through.
you 81 years old and you find?
Ma'am, please. Ma'am.
I turn 65 next month for my birthday.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's hard to sleep.
we're not going to talk amongst the audience, please. Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion or thoughts?
I don't have a motion just yet, but Robert, my thought would be as I feel for and hear the residents and the concerns that they have. My question for you is, has the buffering situation come up in your discussions with the landowner? Are they willing to do anything to try to solve that issue? And, you know, if so, sort of what have those conversations been like?
This is the first I've heard of any issue with lights or anything.
Okay.
It has been vacant for a considerable amount of time, from my understanding. If it's PI, that there may be activity at night, depending on what eventually lands there. I don't know. I've not heard of it before. That was an issue, but now that I know it is an issue, that's something to look at, but
Big issue.
I did not.
Go ahead.
Does anyone in the room live at 155 Northeast Overbriar?
That would be me.
You live by far the closest to the property at hand, much closer than the condominiums.
It is the,
Could you mind I'd like to hear your thoughts. I mean,
ask me
I should have
again.
driven this before I came.
Ask me again.
You live much closer to the
Oh,
property
I
at
am
hand
right
than do the
by it.
condominiums.
Right by it.
You are here on what side of the issue, or a side at all? Do you have an opinion to this?
Well, I wonder what it would do to the value of our property, for one thing. Whether it would devalue it, having a business directly there. Ingress, egress, for all of us, it's already difficult there. Very difficult. You have to wait and wait. I don't know if it would affect that or not.
Well, thank you very much. It just helps me with perspective.
Thank you.
Thanks. We can
You know-
put a fence up. If we need to, we can put trees or fence up for them if that's what they would like. We can do that. Lights are not really going to be in the back. The only lights would maybe be some car lights. I'm not, or some lights from the building itself internally. I'm not planning on having lights everywhere. Front side, yes, we will have a sign and things of that nature. But the back would mainly, I mean, we need to, we can put a fence in or we can plant trees. Whatever will help with this. We want to enhance Cleveland. We want to keep the historical value of the home, and that is my primary goal. Even I'm a home on Ocoee Street, I want to keep the integrity and the value of the home, and with this as well, I will do the same. And if we need to do a fence or plant trees, not a problem. We want the homeowners to be happy as well, and we want to respect them as well. So, thank you.
You know, that home was there originally, and then when Overbriar was developed, it was turned into office. And then you have the office to the north, right on the corner of Weech Drive. The office to the north has a very relatively large parking lot right behind it, with parking spaces that face the back of Overbriar homes, which seems to be the primary concern. This property doesn't have that much frontage. It doesn't have that much room behind the structure, even compared to the structure north of it. I think it's very comparable to what's already there, especially comparing this property to the property right next to it. I just don't see a massive difference, and I don't think the zoning makes a difference.
I mean, the difference is they're going by.
Ma'am, if you'd like to speak, please come to the podium.
Say your name, so it'd be appropriate.
Just state your name for the record.
Hi, Michelle Smith. I mean, the tea room sounds lovely. I'd love to have a tea room, so I hope you do it. It'd be a nice addition to Cleveland. But the issue is the Church of God, the other businesses, they're gone by 5. We're not worried about that. Overbriar has how many condos? 16? 14? And Dax and I bring the median age down quite a bit, but it's a higher, usually typically older population that, you know, it's a very peaceful location. We don't really want businesses going till 9 and 10 o'clock making noise in a very quiet condominium type property right off of Ocoee Street. So that would be the difference. If they want to close by 6, like most tea rooms do, great. But, and then as Dax has already said, it's a tea room today, but what is it 5 years from now? We don't know that. So, you know, why are we rezoning to make one person happy instead of 14 households happy? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's you guys' decisions.
All right, what's the will of the commission?
May I make a motion?
Yes.
Because of the opposition of the residents, I make a move to deny.
All right. Motion to deny by Merrill. Going once. Going twice. All right, motion dies for lack of a second. Do I have another motion?
Given that the commercial neighborhood, the neighborhood commercial zoning, commercial neighborhood zoning is supposed to act as a buffer, can we get a, I'd like to have it contingent on the buffer being put in place, what is required, and that would be done by Robert or whoever needs to make sure that a buffer is in place or what's supposed to be there, and move to approve the zoning from professional institution to neighborhood commercial.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second? Going once. Okay. All right, motion dies for lack of a second. Remind me, Robert, what happens now?
If there's no further motion and no action, then we move on to the next item.
What would happen with this item? Does it go to City Council with no recommendation? John, are you back there? John?
Yeah.
What happens to this item? We have a motion to deny without a second, a motion to approve without a second. So there's no action. Does it go on to City Council without a recommendation?
It won't pass, because if you don't make some kind of recommendation, they're just gonna send it back to you, would be my belief. Now, been doing this a long time, that doesn't mean that they will do that, but that's what I would expect. I would suggest, if you're uncomfortable getting a motion tonight, you delay it for a month, let Robert check the buffering. You'll have other people here that are absent tonight because they're on vacation, then it can go to the council with a recommendation.
I make a motion to delay for 1 month to study further the buffering issue.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Clark. Please call the roll.
Jared Castillo.
Aye.
Clark Taylor.
Yes.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Ben Berry.
Aye.
Merrill Elliott.
Yes.
Bill Estes.
Before the next item, just because we do have a lot of new people here, just a matter of business. As Planning Commission for these rezonings, we do make recommendations to City Council. The decisions that are made here are not final. It does go on to City Council. This item got delayed, so it will come back. So just as how the process works. All right, so item E is a request by Mitch Maloney for consideration on an ordinance to zone about 0.73 acres, property located along TL Rogers Street from CH to R2 to CH, includes tax map 42G, Group J, parcel 1.04.
You all have seen this one before. Surprise, surprise. As soon as a parcel like this, which has sat vacant for many years, gets rezoned for a use, all of a sudden the commercial they want it back. So they're requesting to go back to highway commercial for a beauty salon to be located at that location. My statement to them was that under no circumstances would access be allowed on Prior Road, and so it would not be a cut through. Their access would be required to go to TL Rogers, where they have a flag stem. It is a commercial block and next to I believe an insurance agency and several restaurants. So it can be supported by staff with those caveats that the access is off TL Rogers. And we also would like to see the building orient itself towards that direction as well.
All right, any questions for Robert?
Why face the building to TL Rogers?
Because that way it would not be facing the residential properties and the activity would be to the other direction. Yeah.
We can't force that though, can we?
I think if that's where their access is, they're gonna, it's human nature. You come in. No, not really. But I mean, I think that's kind of a.
More important to me than the facing of it would be fencing, buffers.
And that also could be good. Yeah. Yes.
Mandating such, because it depends what they build. If they make it look like a house on the backside, then that's what you want, right? And not the bucket.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it just depends on the structure.
I don't know anything about this, right? I'm just saying.
No, I fully get it.
I agree. As we've been through this before, the Rogers piece, that's the deal.
That's easy. Yeah.
All right. Is there anyone here to speak on this item?
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, no, you're good.
All right, seeing none, is there any more comments or motion on this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Blake, second by Bill. Please call the roll.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Clark Taylor.
Yes.
Ben Berry.
Aye.
Jared Castillo.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
All right, items F, G, and H will be read together. It's a request by Summer Davis for consideration of a plan of service, resolution to annex, and rezoning from FAR to R2 for property located at Hawk Street, includes tax map 58B, Group D, Parcel 5.
Yes, this is another one of those existing lots. I'm going to pull it up. Strawberry Lane is here. We annexed the property on Strawberry Lane just about a year ago. There's existing sewer lines in the street. Many of the houses are not connected to it, but it's there. Their plan is, and their intention is, to demolish the existing structure. The lot is big enough to subdivide into 2 lots, and they will build back 2 homes.
They'll meet the 5,000 square foot requirement. Seeing as that's not really zoned, it's all county in the area. What's existing use around it?
It's all residential. There's a church, I believe, right here. This is the apartment complex that we zoned to PUD a while back. These are all houses and similar residential type structures. And there are, I think, excuse me, maybe 1 or 2 duplexes in the area, but mostly single family homes.
The yellow highlighted portion there, that is currently annexed to the part of the city, right?
And it was annexed. There was an existing home. They demolished the home, subdivided the lot. This is the same group across the street doing the same thing.
And that was annexed in. I can't tell the color on that. That was annexed.
R2.
R2 as well.
That's correct.
Move to approve.
May want to make sure everybody's here.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none, that's a move to approve for item F, the plan of service.
Yes.
Please call the roll.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Jared Castillo.
Aye.
Clark Taylor.
Yes.
Ben Berry.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
All right. Item G is same property resolution to annex. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Clark Taylor.
Yes.
Ben Berry.
Aye.
Jared Castillo.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
All right. Items I.
H, zoned R2.
Yep. Did we just do it?
So moved.
Second. Good plans. Annexation.
Oh, my bad.
Bill
Thank you.
Estes.
Aye.
Blake Allison.
Aye.
Clark Taylor.
Yes.
Ben Berry.
Aye.
Jared Castillo.
Aye.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Items I, J, and K will be read together. It's a request by Wright Brothers Construction Company for consideration of a plan of service, annexation, and an ordinance to zone about 385.58 acres, more or less, property located along Lower River Road from FAR to CG General Commercial, tax map 9, parcel 12.
Yes, thank you. This is an annexation request. You all may recall over the past few years, we've had 2 annexations in this general vicinity in the past. Those properties are all zoned highway commercial. This request is for CG, general commercial, and you know, it's right now we don't have specific ideas beyond. They're talking with something called a TA travel center. I believe it's some kind of larger service station. There's a couple of QSRs, quick service restaurants, that are looking to build along the highway there at the exit. And so that's the primary emphasis for that zoning request. Much of the lot in question, the property in total, has considerable grade, and so much of that won't be touched in the immediate. I don't believe it's a commercial uses is what they're looking for. I do know we are aware of the conversations taking place outside of the city concerning potential data center uses at this location and many others. And you know, I can attest that that is not what this is. If a use such as that was interested in this location or any other in the city, whether it's around this geographical area or anywhere else, the city would analyze that. We would require whoever that may be to hold what I would consider community meetings outside of our purview with whatever neighborhood they were going to impact before we took forth any action. If they wanted one at this location, it would, you know, sometime in the future, it would require a full rezoning process with signage, public hearings, and that same thing I just said. You know, any community that's going to be involved in this needs to be talked to, not just by whatever government entity is involved, but by those who are requesting that use. So, you know, I think there's a lot that can be said about these things. That's not what this is, and I'm not going to spend any more time really talking about a data center because it has nothing to do with this request. And like I said, if it did come forward, all of those steps would be taken, a very public process. There's nothing to hide here. These uses are very specific in their needs and must be addressed as such. So I just want to give confidence to this board and anybody who cares to listen and believe what I'm saying, that these are 2 separate discussion points, and this body doesn't have anything in front of them concerning data centers and really can't speak to it because we don't know that. That's not here. So as far as the plan of service goes, there are some expenses. We knew that. From a service standpoint, we are looking and discussing with this property owner on a location for a few, kind of an emergency services center that would act for both police, fire, possibly looking at how we can provide fire service and coverage to parts of the unincorporated area around it. There's a lot of discussion that goes into that that's has not taken place. There is no fire department in this area, for a while. So the interstate, we've taken it up to this point. Emergency management, we have the closest fire station today to this location as it stands. This just provides them with the ability to be sure that they're sending our people to those incidents that occur on the interstate. That's what that's about. We did it after the annexation just to the south of here from exit 27 to exit 33. And that's a continuation, as you can see there. So, speaking with Cleveland Utilities, if you've seen the number in the plan of service on the electric, they're comfortable with that. If Walt was here, he would tell you that, but he's unfortunately not able to join us tonight. And then from a standpoint of future uses, I do expect to have our emergency services structure somewhere along that corridor, as well as other commercial uses that usually line up near interstate exits. And that is the approach with this request. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Go
ahead.
This is in the urban growth boundary.
It is entirely within the urban growth boundary.
Entirely, thank you.
Yes.
And the second is, on the phone this week, I kept saying, please tell me I'm right.
We can hear you.
Can't hear you. On the phone this week, when I get phone calls on this issue, I said,
Closer to the mic.
I said that a data center as proposed will not be allowed in commercial, what they're asking for in item K.
That is correct.
Okay.
I will reiterate what he said, so I hope you can hear me. This zoning designation would not allow for a data center. It's not allowable. They're allowable in IH with a conditional use permit, and they're allowable in a specifically designed industrial PUD. So those two options would be it. It could not go, we have general commercial zoning all over the city. And so we would not put something like that in that designation. It doesn't fit. We don't want that next to a, restaurant or whatever it may be. That doesn't fit. So the zoning designation would not allow for that. And so I just want to be clear about that. You're 100% accurate.
Thank you.
Hold on. Let them ask me questions, and then I'm going to get out of the way and let y'all speak directly to them.
All right, so a little bit of history with each piece of this. All right, so we have the annexation. We have the area in red that's on the southwest corner. Old Ponderosa site is what I call it. If you're not from here, it just looks like a concrete pad. That came through Planning Commission. I went back and read the minutes. Planning Commission actually recommended denial of that. It was a split vote, but the primary concern was just a lack of mass. Like, why is the city going to provide services to just 5 acres? Following up on that, so we recommended no. It went to City Council and it passed 6-1. So resounding, yes, this is the direction we want the city to go. Follow up on that, there was a joint committee to put together the urban growth boundary. City, county, utilities, all people.
Charleston as well.
I wasn't part of that, so I don't know the discussions, but the result of that was clear that this area was in the growth boundary for the city of Cleveland. A lot of utilities are there. The sewer treatment plant is up there. The water, there's plenty of water. Water treatment plant is there. And it was looked at as how the city would grow in the next 50 years. Similar to Exit 20. I mean, there's a lot of, Exit 20 was very similar, where you had commercial zoning out at the interchange.
That was the previous last amendment to the growth boundary that occurred was Exit 20.
Was Exit 20.
Yes.
All right, so the direction has been to grow in this area. Now we have a large piece that is coming and asking for commercial zoning. On the services side, my understanding is that the closest fire station from the county is at North Lee and Tasso. I think that's
That's a Eureka would be probably.
Maybe Eureka on the back way? Okay. So with this, there would be an additional coverage of city services, because now you would have the city up there as well as the county. And I love to hear the fact that they're wanting to put that at this location. I mean, you know, the fact that those services are far away from the high school, I mean, that's from Walker, from all these industries, from being the marina, I mean, all these, it's concerning. I think we should have more services at exit 33. So I'm glad to see that part of it.
Yes.
So, before we open up for public comment, anything else from the board?
That's it.
Okay, public comment, there is a lot of people and it can get chaotic. We do have to make sure everything is on the record. So we would ask you, if you come to the podium, state your name and address, and then if you'll have, while one person's speaking, if the next person just wants to kind of stand behind the monitor and just kind of get in line behind them. We don't need a full line, but you can kind of see who's coming and we can keep going. I want to make sure everyone gets heard. Yeah, please, sir, go ahead.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm really, obviously there's a ton of issues here that people are concerned about. Y'all have addressed and said that some of these aren't true, and I think we all know that, you know, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, so that's where a lot of that concern is coming from. Sure, you're saying right now it's not this, but it could be. But I'm hoping to kind of save some time here. My understanding is that under Tennessee Code 6-51-104 and related municipal laws, that an annexation hearing is to be posted at least 21 days before the hearing properly. Now, it was not. It was posted no earlier than, I believe, the 12th of this month. That would mean this hearing should be held no sooner than next month. So if that's the case, then I ask that this would be delayed till next month. We have not had the proper opportunity to get public records requests fulfilled so that we can see transparency in all of this, because all due respect, y'all can say whatever you want, but if we can't see the papers, we don't know that what you're saying is true. And that's why the annexation hearing posting is the 21 days is there. And unless I'm misunderstanding that code, this hearing is invalid right now for this annexation, and it needs to be held next month. It would give us as a community more time to prepare for this, and I think it would do us all a service, because I think all of you right now, with the lack of preparation, are in for a long night. I think we all are. Whereas I think with more time to organize and prepare, I think we would have a more organized, a more judicious meeting. That's my first statement.
Robert, can you detail the timeline for the postings and?
Yeah, so it's a 21-day notice is required by state law and the public hearing that state law refers to is the legislative body. For us, that's the city council. This is a recommending body. So that official public hearing date is based on the city council meeting, which is the 24th, and so the advertisement was ran on Saturday. The signs went out July 31st.
The original signage did not have the dates of these meetings nor the actual use and planning of it. The original signage was not valid. The actual correct signage was not put up until last week. And I have people in this room, I'm sure, that have pictures of that.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The original signage did not properly declare this meeting, the time, or the things that are required to be declared that was put up on the 31st. And the signage that had the correct information on it was not put up until last week.
I believe the original, you're speaking of the signs and what the information has. And so that is I would need to look at that sign and speak to it.
Then it sounds like we should delay.
So that may be the decision. We saw one of those already, right? This is just a recommending body for rezonings, and so it does say that the public hearing that the law refers to is city council, because they make the decisions. Sometimes they agree with us, sometimes they don't. Actually, there was the example right here was one that they didn't. So our opinion is just a recommendation. I think we'll have everyone look into that because I think that's important. We may decide to delay, but if not, and there is an issue, then it could be delayed at City Council to resolve the issue.
Okay.
We'll push forward.
Sure. Okay. Then I would like to make if a recommendation to annex is to be made today, I would like to make a couple or voice a couple concerns about said annexation. Again, I'm not going to go 5 years down the road or where CG becomes the other zoning for more concerning things. I'll put it very simply. Have any of y'all driven that road? How many times you've been cut off by a truck dangerously? You want to put another truck stop across the street from it? What's the plan for expanding that road or expanding don't get me started on the exit ramp. Those have to be replaced and repaired. They should be replaced and repaired anyways. I don't know whose suspension has been worn out on that. And these things are not being considered right now. The thing is whatever the plan to develop there is, I think, should be very transparent and put into formal documentation before, and I understand annexation is different from zoning, but before these considerations are made. Because once it's one step at a time with these people, it's one step at a time with these big corporations and private equity that are behind a lot of things that happen. I won't speak to say they are definitely here. There are things as well, and if the recommendation is to be made, then part of that recommendation, in my opinion, should be that guarantees are made, and those things can happen. Performance bonds can be put in place by the city to guarantee if they say they're going to create X amount of jobs and X amount, then that's put into a bond. That if they fail and they don't do that, or they sell and they do something else with it, our city is left the money to recoup the damages they cause to our community. But I would ask that if a recommendation is made, if you have the power to recommend details of a recommendation for this annexation, that you require that a formal plan be stated. Here is not we think we're going to put a TA travel center in here and maybe a couple small hotels and some quick service restaurants. No, that's what we're going to put. Here are the plans to do so, and here's how we're going to support and expand the infrastructure between I-75 and that intersection to make sure that we don't cause a further congestion for people that are literally 5 minutes off the highway and it takes us 10 minutes and almost running into a semi-truck. So, none of us have confidence that any of these things have even been considered. This was, to all of us, rushed. We did not get proper warning so that we can do our research. Again, we have not even had time for a public records request to be fulfilled. So we feel we're purposefully being kept in the dark on what the true intent of this is. And once the ball starts rolling, it's a lot harder to stop. And so it starts here. It started years ago, but with this project in particular, it starts here. And so that's where I say your recommendation should be delay or no. That's all I've got for now.
State your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Matthew McCall.
And just state your name and address for the record, thanks.
Chairman and members of the Planning Commission, my name is Cynthia Tanti. I'm a Bradley County resident, and the proposed Lower River Road annexation is part of my immediate community. I'm asking you tonight to continue, not approve, items 5I, 5J, and 5K involving the Wright Brothers construction request for approximately 360 acres on Lower River Road. This is not a minor rezoning. This is nearly 386 acres being annexed and moved from FAR County zoning to CG General Commercial, and the city's own staff report states that no end user has been identified. It mentions possible quick service restaurants and a regional truck stop, but the actual development is still unknown. Yet tonight the Commission is being asked to approve the plan of services, recommend annexation, and recommend general commercial zoning before several major questions appear to be resolved. First, there is a serious question concerning statutory notice, which I understand we just briefly discussed. Tennessee law does require compliant annexation signage no later than 21 calendar days before the first hearing. The signs originally posted for this property did not contain all the required information, did not meet the statutory height requirement, and corrected signs appeared only recently. I respectfully request that the city attorney establish on the record exactly when fully compliant signs were installed and how the city believes the statutory requirement has been satisfied. Second, the city's own plan of services acknowledges the possibility of ponds, wetlands, and streams, and says that a hydrological determination must be performed and approved by TDEC before land disturbance, with an ARAP required for alterations to aquatic resources. Has that hydrological determination been completed? Has TDEC provided concurrence? Has a national heritage or endangered species review been conducted? If not, why are we approving general commercial zoning across almost 386 acres before we understand the environmental constraints? Third, the city's own police department says the location and size of the development are a concern and that additional officers and patrol cars will be required at build-out. The fire department identifies the need for an additional station, a new engine, and 12 additional personnel with an estimated cost of $7.6 million. Cleveland Utilities estimates another $6 to $8 million for new electrical substation with additional TVA costs still undetermined. And while the staff report says sewer and water, yes, the detailed plan states that sanitary sewer is not presently available and estimates over $121,000 for an extension and provides an implementation period of up to 8 years. Meanwhile, the city's own projected revenue is approximately $28,774 per year while undeveloped, or roughly $40,687 with the possible restaurants and truck stop use. So my question is simple. Why does this have to be approved tonight? There is no identified end user. There are unresolved environmental questions. There are major police, fire, sewer, and electrical infrastructure issues. There are millions of dollars in projected service costs. And there is an unresolved question concerning whether the statutory public notice requirements were properly satisfied. I'm not asking you to permanently deny this application tonight. I'm asking you to exercise the responsibility of this planning commission and continue these items until the city can demonstrate statutory compliance, complete the necessary environmental reviews, clarify infrastructure costs and funding, and present a fully developed fiscal and service impact analysis to the public. For an annexation of this magnitude, getting the process right is more important than getting it done tonight. Thank you for your time and consideration. And if I may, I'd just like to respectfully give you a copy for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Brandy Marie and I live in Charleston. I came tonight to voice my strong opposition to the annexation. I don't believe that the plan of services has been made public for us to look at. I see you talking about more fire stations that you have money to build when we didn't have the money to pay the firefighters for their raises recently.
I think that was the county.
Well, my bad.
Which is
I'm
why
sorry. But
we're
I'm just saying, yeah,
annexing the
it's a big issue. I mean, because my fear is this seems to be a way to extend Cleveland services closer to the river, because when they bring these data centers that need the river in, they're going to need the city to have the services close enough for them to even approve the next time they come for an annexation. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, just the numbers that she threw out doesn't seem like the cost analysis is even beneficial for this plot of land to be commercial for the travel center without any future risk, like getting our services closer to the river. You say that this is in the plan already to extend Cleveland City that way and the services for the city that way, but you're talking about you're getting closer to the river and our water sources where we drink, and we are responsible. City is responsible for keeping that any environmental hazards that go into our water. The city is going to fund the responsibility to clean that up. Right now in Tennessee, there was a diesel contamination in Carytown and what was that other? Jacksboro. Diesel lines got into the aquifer. These towns spent all weekend, they couldn't even wash their hands. The water in their homes, they could only flush the toilet with, they could not wash their hands. Did you see this in the news? Because I haven't seen it in the news. The way I know is because my niece sells AquaClear water filtration systems for homes. And every one of these homes that are affected by the diesel water, every one of their filtration systems have to be replaced. That's just off diesel. That's not talking about the rest of chemicals and stuff that can go in to our water when you annex and try to get these services closer to where we know these people are planning to come in and take the water out of our river. They're doing it all over the nation. State of Tennessee itself just put out a proposition to host nuclear waste. They have towns blacked out who have agreed to accept this nuclear waste and co-sponsored data centers on the same property. What are they calling it? A Nuclear Innovation Lifetime Cycle Center campus. That's what the state's calling it. But the prerequisites to these moves that they're making to house this nuclear waste are happening now in these cities. Annexing lands and big plots, changing, city services and where they can be provided so they can bring this stuff in. Do you want this close to our river? I mean, can you honestly say that you know for sure that's not the plan here? Not this step, but maybe the next 3 steps that they're planning to take? Because your governor is moving for that in the state of Tennessee right now. Y'all are our protection against this moving here. We need y'all to take more time. I would ask that you postpone this vote and really take these numbers into consideration. I don't think the cost analysis is there, even for this commercial usage. I just don't. The traffic on that line when school lets out, right there, right up the road from this travel center, it's already crazy. The exits are already crazy. All this infrastructure already needs to have help without adding additional travel centers. So I just ask that y'all take everything I said into consideration and realize and think, if you think these steps are going to lead to these nuclear storage facilities and data centers, because they're coming to Tennessee. Just make sure they don't come to Cleveland, because we already have a history of being a part of the acid rain in the state. That's what this city was built on. Don't let it be our legacy. Don't let it be the way that we go out, is letting these more contamination happen here around Cleveland. We're better than that. We've grown through that. We've seen that happen with environmental disasters generations ago. We've done the work to try to clean up our town and their environment. We need to continue to do the work. So I ask that you postpone this vote, more transparency, so we can just protect our property and our water, because that's what's important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Janie Bishop. I live at 8519 Candice Creek Ridge Road. Been there since '81, and I thought it was in the country, but I'm about to be in the city. Once I noticed the annexation signs, and I noticed them on July 31st, but I think they may have been there before that. I'm not real sure. I immediately went to the state website to look up the track. I had cut out the map that was in the banner on August the 1st announcing this hearing. When I got to the state website, the track shows that this is actually 438.95 deeded acres, land units as well. And the request for annexation is for only 385.58 acres. So I would, number one, question why the difference of 53.37 acres. My guess is it's the track across the road, because that would have been non-contiguous annexation. It also would have been spot zoning because it's in the middle of homes. There's about 8 or 10 homes surrounding that. So I don't know, but I think we would like to have the answer to that question as well.
Speak to the acreage. I can speak to that. The remaining acreage of this parcel is on top of the ridge to the left. If you look at the map, those pieces are not currently in the urban growth area.
You're talking about this right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I can address that too. In looking up this map, I noticed that tract was on the map that day too. And it was tract number 022, and it was there for 74.9 acres. I went back to the website August the 7th because I wanted to check something else, and in doing that, I noticed the lot line had been removed for that tract. Now, I don't know how it could have been removed on the state map and not be a part of this, or how it could have been legally removed.
It's done by deed.
I'm sorry?
It's done by deed. When it's over 5 acres, they do it by deed.
Well, there was no...
Courthouse, then they update the records there.
Okay, well, it wasn't documented on site. There's no documentation on site, but there is documentation on site for that to be, and they've made the application for a greenbelt application. So that can mean a lot of things also. The other thing, I guess, when this growth plan was approved by the city of Cleveland, Charleston, and Bradley County, the mayor told us that, quote, "This agreement eliminates non-contiguous annexation by referendum outside the growth boundary, preventing islands of the city like we see at exit 33, and that's the Ponderosa property, hopefully from ever happening again," unquote. And as I say, he was referencing the old Ponderosa truck stop. But unfortunately, this one island has opened the door for the city of Cleveland to continue enlarging that island and taking in properties going north and south on Lower River Road. So I would like to have some of those answers too, and some of this feedback that we hopefully will get about this. And normally when you submit a request, you have the plan of action and the zoning of what it is at that time, and it also has the future zoning and plan use, and you all don't have that plan use, do you?
Are you talking about for the parcel in question
Right.
here?
Yes.
We often annex parcels that are undeveloped and don't have an exact clear plan for them. That has happened, that happens nationwide. Sometimes it's for a specific, service that they want to advertise or whatever it may be. But that does occur. So the plan of service that we write is based on what we think in the immediate, but this being 385 acres, they have not submitted any further plans to us. All we know is that it would have to fit within the zoning designation that we would bring, that may or may not get approved.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think just to piggyback on that, because there was a couple of comments about the process and what comes first. And so we've seen not just this rezoning, but several rezonings. Zoning is a first step. What the zoning does, whether it's approved, not approved, we had one that was delayed today, it sets the framework of what could happen. So and oftentimes people don't know what's going to happen. We had the agenda item where someone had a specific, they want to do a tea shop. That's actually rare to have someone that actually knows exactly what they want to do. In this case, what is being requested is they want to work within the framework of our commercial general zoning, which allows commercial uses such as, and that's why you see they are saying they don't know what it is, but it could be the truck stop, quick service restaurants, that sort of thing. And so then once the zoning occurs, then you have things like the environmental studies, like how can this property, there's 300 acres here, the topography's horrible, not all 300 acres is going to have a parking space and a parking lot if it got approved and developed. That would come next to see how it could be developed, as far as just looking at the various steps. The other thing to note, there was one person that I think the first gentleman had a question about the road. In the city, we do have a requirement for traffic impact studies. So once you have the zoning, once you have a use, then they have a traffic impact study, and that study does define what improvements have to be made for that specific use to occur. So that is something different. The county doesn't have that, the city does. And that would occur with that.
And that, to that point, those traffic impact studies do put the impetus on the developer to make those improvements.
Yeah.
These are state highways. It's a state highway, state on-ramp. So PDOT would also be a partner to that. For that. And that is regardless of whether it's unincorporated or not.
Yeah, so a lot of those services like traffic, developers have to front the cost. The sewer extension, developers typically have to front the cost. That's all part of the development, not part of what the city is agreeing to provide. Anybody else?
Hey, just a quick question.
Just state your
Will
name
Martin,
and address for the record.
Will Martin. I'm going to ask the question, and I may go to the screen to show what I'm talking about. But so this request was made by the property owner for parcel, was it 12?
Yeah, 9 parcel 12. Yep.
9 parcel 12.
Tax map 9.
Does the extension up I-75, is that included in 9 parcel 12? And I'll go to the screen and ask that. So this section right here, is that included in 9 parcel 12?
Right-of-ways aren't given parcel numbers,
Gotcha.
I believe. And so the parcel number reference what the property owner requests, and then the city would expand the scope to include whatever right-of-ways that are included as part of that.
Okay, so that would be an expansion of a right-of-way.
An inclusion of a right-of-way into the request. That would usually come from the city part once they review the request from the property owner.
Okay. All right, just wanted to point that out.
Okay. All right, anybody else?
I just want to state.
Is anybody that hasn't spoken yet?
Hey, my name's Kelsey Fox. I just have a question about the public notice portion. I know we kind of talked about that. If you haven't had the proper 21-day public notice with the correct signage, can the annexation be voted on prior to that? Because from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was required before the voting can take place to annex it. Is that correct?
The legislative vote.
Which would actually.
Which is city council.
Happen at city council. So we make a recommendation, Kelsey, regarding our thoughts from a zoning perspective. And then really that's just a recommendation. Like the red portion at the bottom where the Ponderosa was, our body actually recommended denial, not to take it in. City council felt differently and they decided to take it in. So our recommendation, should it happen tonight on this, would be yes or no to recommend annexation, but the true legislative vote would be after that 21 days, and I'm looking for Kimball, but at the city council, who have final say.
Okay, so this part can take place prior to the 21-day notice?
Correct. It can.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Jeff Morona, and I have just one question referring to the map. So when I see this right-of-way up I-75, so anything that's connected to that can be considered contiguous? Is that correct?
Roads aren't, so when you look at, let's say you've got a parcel here and one across the street here. This one is in the city, but this one is not. It's contiguous because that road actually, it really, in zoning and annexation, they don't exist. When you annex roads, it's primarily an emergency management related decision, and so it's not considered. You still have to have contiguous parcels, but the road itself does not exist.
All right, so I'm going to ask you this question. On this piece of property right here that you're calling the right-of-way,
that is Interstate 70.
Can this piece of property be considered contiguous and they ask for annexation?
No, sir.
So BCT that owns this piece of property that they bought from the Wright brothers,
It's all Wright Brothers. BCT is Wright Brothers.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah.
So you cannot count that as contiguous.
That, based on that right there, no, sir.
Okay.
That brings up another question. In the urban growth plan, there is a tiny portion of that tract that the growth plan goes right across the corner. So does it make the tract, not that tract, I apologize, the tract that was originally looked at for the data center?
So, anything inside the urban growth boundary, there's multiple ways to go through annexation. There's two. One is by resolution, which is what we're doing now. And one is a referendum, which is a voting, when you vote in, at the ballot. So it would be a question added to a ballot. So an uncontiguous annexation can only take place, and then that also involves Bradley County Commission. So it feasibly could be, but the process is considerably different than what we're doing now.
This is wholly in the urban growth boundary, though. Is that correct?
The portion of the parcel that has been requested is wholly within. The remaining parts of the parcel that are outside the urban growth boundary are not a part of this request.
I'm Carolyn Ernest. What is the process for making it a referendum vote?
All annexation is started by an applicant's request, the property owner requesting it.
Right.
And then there's a whole list of items that will take me a few minutes to go over, but it is, it goes through a similar public process, but it's just a little bit different.
So my question is, if this is tabled or delayed or whatever, is it possible to make this go before an election, a voting process where the community gets to vote on it rather than the commission?
As long as we have an agreement with Bradley County that's a part of the urban growth boundary amendment in 2025. And as long as certain parameters are met, the city is not annexing by referendum.
The city has agreed not to do that route.
The city
agreed, that's my understanding.
So it's an agreement between the city and the county to not place anything as a voting referendum, is that correct?
That's correct. That was a request of Bradley County Commission during the urban growth boundary discussion.
I'm sorry, the voting is not like a general public voting, so it's not as open as what you might imagine, and that's why it's not a great process.
The only vote that counts in that regard when that was done was by the people that are requesting the annexation. So it was made so if a whole subdivision wanted to come in and it had 30 lots in that subdivision, those 30 property owners could vote. Well, in this case, there's one property owner. Correct. And one property owner would vote.
Would be one vote.
Yeah, it's not what you think it would be.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
If you've spoken before, just let's
Hi,
let
I'm Tweela McLean. I have a question. The property here that's in question, most all of the surrounding landowners have been contacted by Wright Brothers and asked would they sell their land. My question is, once this is annexed, does it make it much easier then for these properties that they are trying to obtain now to become annexed? Is that almost a given?
I don't know who's what. I mean, we're talking in.
Well, we've got people here that can tell you they've come to their door.
Well, no, and I'm not arguing.
Okay.
I don't mind. I just think we're talking in hypotheticals.
Right, hypothetically, if this is annexed, then if I buy up all the land around that and I come to you and say, you already annexed this, is it more favorable for me then to get those other properties annexed after this is annexed? Does it lead to an easier route? That's my question.
Yeah.
Much easier.
I think you have two different processes. So if it's contiguous annexation, which is what this is, then it goes Planning Commission for recommendation, which is where we're here now. Then it goes to City Council for the decision. If it's non-contiguous, that is when the plan of service goes to the county. Just the plan of service, because they have to figure out, okay, if you have a non-contiguous annexation, how are we going to serve fire? How are we going to serve police? Let's make sure we're not getting double served or not served. You know, just the basics of the plan of service, that goes to Bradley County for approval. So when you see Bradley County looking at annexations, it's because it's non-contiguous. So non-contiguous properties can ask to be annexed. It just has that one extra step. So in a sense, yes, this makes it easier because it doesn't have the county step, but if you have another property to the north that's not contiguous, it could still request annexation and go through the process.
But there would be no reason then not to annex those other properties. Because if we already have this, let's say I own all of this. I own all of this right here. I don't know who owns it. And they come to me and say, I want to buy your property. And they offer me 50% more than it's worth. And I sell to them. Then they come to you and say, you already approved this. How about approving all of this now? Would that not be an easier path to annexation for the rest of it? It's just a question, a hypothetical question.
I don't know that we can answer that because there's so many unknowns about what are we doing with it?
Also, we do look at this one.
But to your point,
can we just
to that point, we don't know yet what they're going to do with this. If I heard correctly, Robert said they may put some hotels, they may put a travel center, and all the other acreage, they have no plans at the moment. That's not a plan. I'm a professional planner. That's not a plan.
I was going to just speak.
No, go ahead.
I want to give your voice. What we see quite a bit, and what's very, very common, similar to, let's look at Exit 20. That was annexed, zoned with industrial, with the speculative thought that there will be industrial uses, and they have to work within that industrial framework. I'm using that as an example. Mm-hmm. So they don't know, like they don't know exactly who's going to move in. Is Amazon moving in there? Is Sitka Foods or whoever else? So often with larger tracts and parcels like this, they ask for a zoning. In this case, commercial, which means I think it was stated by Ben before, they have to work within the guidelines of that commercial. It only can be used within those guidelines that say what's an allowable use. Once that allowable use is determined, that's their framework. And then they can go to a TA truck stop or whatever else. They can go to a Popeyes, they can go to these other places and say, hey, we have been annexed, we have been zoned, which now allows these uses to court them. Often they can't court any of those when they're zoned FAR out in the county with no public services. So this is not a forced annexation where it used to be, hey, the city's taking your property, you can't do anything about it. This is a property owner with private property rights requesting an annexation to do something with their property. Now, as a planning commission, we want to put some sort of framework around this, right? To protect you, to protect everyone else. Our framework currently is what's allowable in a commercial use zoning, which does not allow any data centers. And all I can vote on or recommend to the city council who makes the final decision is this particular tract, what I see in front of me, is on this particular piece of property, right? So I understand looking out into the future. You're a planner, and I'm sure you're pretty good at it. But all I can look at and vote today is based on that piece within the commercial zone.
Right. And my question was I just want to know, does that make it easier if I sell all my property around to them for that to be approved to be annexed. I'm not questioning this. I'm questioning what happens next.
Yes, because it'll be continuous to.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Clark.
Does anybody want to talk before I ask my questions? Okay, go ahead.
Hello, my name is John Ellis. I'm a resident of 1700 Lower Road, Charleston, Tennessee. I understand this is a complicated issue, and I think there's a lot of pressure on all sides. And I think there are people behind that desk that do not agree with this, do not want to have to be put in the position that you're in. But the one reoccurring theme that continually is spoken here is that we don't know. We are not clear. I've talked to people that live directly on this proposed annexation, and they have no earthly idea what's going on. We sat and listened to this first meeting. The people that were discussing the tea house had much more of an idea on a very lesser scale than we're facing than we do. Ask these people. We don't know. The original sign postings, we can go on about that. We can go on about services. The original signs did not have the information on them. The signs that do were put up on August 12th. We have pictures of both of them. This, I feel, is relatively transparent. One thing, Mr. Castile, I heard you say, you take in consideration the extent of the land alteration. This and what it contends, what it actually can contribute to, is life-changing alteration. It's not a restaurant in your back door. It's destructions of communities. And you seem to be very privy on the parcels. The larger parcel, that is the BC whatever parcel, the Wright Brothers parcel, 700 plus acres that is bordered by the Hiwassee River. We're going to be standing here in another month or 6 weeks discussing the annexation of it. Because this development, this construction, this annexation is a gateway to a much bigger issue. That's the beliefs of myself and my community, and I think if you look at this, it lays out like puzzle pieces. I know that you guys are familiar with this area, and I'm just asking you to do your due diligence and give us time. If we're wrong, make us understand. Just provide the information, because straight across the board, we don't have it. We do not understand, and we can't. Should we make assumptions on misinformation? That's terrible. Should we sensationalize things we're not sure about? Maybe there will be data centers. Do I think it's going to be right there? Absolutely not. Do I think it's probably being aimed at the larger parcel? Absolutely. Do I think there's enormous amounts of money at stake? Yes. Do I think the city of Cleveland can benefit from that? Absolutely. I know this is a power play, but I just ask you to take us into consideration. Give us time to know what we're dealing with. That's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you. My name again is Jeff Morona. I'm a geography major, an ex-cartographer. I spent most of my career working for a large public utility. And my cartographer part of me keeps looking at this map. So I've got a few more questions for you. So what I understood was happening is the Wright brothers came forward and said that they wanted to allow y'all to annex their property.
They requested that we annex.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the map. I know that this is their property, but I'm trying to figure out, this is not their property. This is the state. So you're annexing the state property?
Yeah. State.
Is that what you're doing?
We've done this before. It's as I said at the beginning, when we were originally just talking from an emergency services standpoint, our fire station is closer than any, and often serves the interstate, and so that is why it gets covered in our jurisdiction. The city has the interstate currently from exit 33 all the way south of exit 20.
Okay. The other part I'm noticing is this little section right here. And on the property viewer, it's not the Wright brothers.
We can only go off of our GIS, which is the same as property viewer. I believe, we click on the parcel that highlights it, so I believe it is.
Okay. Well, again, I've never seen anything like this, and it's very odd to me, the length of it. Why didn't you go to the river?
Well, that edge that you're at there is the urban growth boundary edge.
Okay. And it just so happens that it's adjacent to Wright Brothers and BCT. All right. That's just the abnormality that I see with what you're trying to annex. I've just got some serious questions about it, and I'm sure a lot of other people do.
Yeah, the maps are different.
Mr. Rawls.
Dan Rawls. Look, a couple of things, I mean, just kind of strike me. I mean, there's so much disparity in what we're seeing, you know, kind of what you're being told, and then that we have issues with the signage. And I mean, it seems to me that it would be, you know, in the best interest of everyone, and transparency and everything else, to set this aside. Let's put a delay on this and allow everything to be delayed a month or whatever, you know, a reasonable time schedule is, so that people can basically get together the open records requests that have been made, all of the information that has been sought, all those things would be available to people that have interest in this. And I mean, since there's the discrepancies in how this was, how the signage was done, and there's a lot of things. I mean, and it's just like, you know, the statement about like Walker. You know, Walker has their own fire department. They won't let your fire department on their property. So that's, and that's a fire department in Walker. That's a big issue anyway. But I just think that it would be, you know, the best interest of the community and everyone involved here, that if this was delayed and that this was reset so that everybody has a chance to look at all the information. I mean, we see these issues here with the map and these small discrepancies, but a lot of times small discrepancies develop into large problems, you know, and we all know that as you extend those annexations, every piece now allows more access to more annexation. And I think we would be a little bit naive to believe that that piece of property right there is not going to be used for what many people are assuming that it's going to be used for. I mean,
You say with that piece of property, are you talking about the?
yeah, I'm talking about the piece in totality, not just what the, once you annex that, then it's easier to annex that, and then you can annex that, and then you annex that. So I mean, this is like this is like eating the apple a bite at a time. That's exactly what we're looking at here, you know. And is that an assumption on my part? Yes, probably. Is it a reasonable assumption? Absolutely. You know, because that's what we're seeing here. You're not gonna charge in and try to take over the whole piece of property at one time, because that can't be done, right? Because the annexations have to come piece by piece by piece. And we have infrastructure issues, as you guys have discussed. I just think that it would be, you know, in the best interest of everyone if this was delayed, and that this would allow everyone to get the information that they need, and it would allow it the signage correction to meet the criteria that the state requires, you know. And we haven't had that, in my humble opinion, you know. And so I've talked to people in the electrical service, and you know, what would be provided, you know, anything for something of this magnitude. Let's say that it was a surveillance data center, that would be something that would be undertaken by TVA. It's not something that Cleveland Utilities could handle, anything of that wattage. But and let me ask you something else, and I'm not insulting anybody here, but I just like to know, is there anything in your position, or you may not be able to speak for the council or not, but that prevents you from being involved in, you know, non-disclosure agreements? Or is that something that you can't do? as a board member? Do you know what I'm saying, like you can't talk about something that you know, I mean, you know what a non-disclosure agreement is, right? Okay. Is there anything that prevents you in your position from undertaking or signing a non-disclosure agreement?
I don't see where you're following, where you're leading there.
Well, I'm just asking you a question. May not be leading anywhere. I'm asking a simple question.
I'm a volunteer sitting up here trying to listen to everyone. I have not signed anything. I'm just here trying to hear you out, buddy.
I know, and I'm not saying that you have signed it. What I'm asking you is there anything that prevents you from doing that?
No, and I don't see how it's pertinent to the zoning, but I've not signed anything myself. Not at all. But I didn't know that was even a thing. So
well,
signed any non-disclosure.
A little research in that, you would find that is reasonably common, and that prevents people from discussing things. You know.
I understand the premise, but
right?
In this regard, no. But
so so the answer is that there's nothing to prevent you from doing that. Is that what you're saying?
Or to prevent me from?
Yeah. In other words, like when you assume this position,
yes.
You know, whether you're appointed or voted in or whatever, is there anything in there that says that when you take this position, you cannot sign a non-disclosure agreement about anything that becomes before you?
I think the only thing that exists,
not to my knowledge,
in state law, if you have a conflict, you have to announce it.
Correct.
Okay, but if you're questioned for something, you know, if you're questioned about something and you say that I can't discuss that because I have a non-disclosure agreement. So what you're saying is that the conflict of interest automatically prevents that. Is that what you're telling me? Because clearly it would be a conflict.
I don't think it's very specific in the language.
Mm-hmm.
It just says if you have a conflict of interest, you have to make it.
Right.
Well,
so if I had ownership of a piece of property that's under review, then I would recuse myself or say that I have ownership of it. Or if my great-grandfather was the one who owned that property, then I would disclose it. But that's...
If you sign a non-disclosure agreement, then you have to disclose that you have
a conflict.
Right. A conflict of some kind.
Well, and I understand that, but I sat and watched the county commission. I know that's not y'all. A county commission vote for their own pay raises, so I have reason to ask. You know, that's a reasonable question, I believe, under that context.
We get paid zero.
Yeah.
I'm on several boards. I'm on several boards too, so I understand that zero thing. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Sorry, just one more. Sorry. Hi, I'm Matthew Saunders. Just reiterating, I think the point that everybody has made here today that there's a lot of unknowns, right? And I think there was a lady up here talking about annexation of some other areas that she kind of posed the question, would it make it easier for somebody to annex those areas as a hypothetical? And she was kind of dismissed a little bit. And I think that's beginning to create a little bit of mistrust, at least on my side personally, when we begin to dismiss questions. And I think there was a question about the NDA. I think that is valid. I think that just dismissing that as flippant is not the way to proceed here. Everybody's here concerned about what potentially could become of this property. I don't think anybody's here just because of a free lunch. It's a free lunch? No. So just a little bit more transparency, and I think if there is cause for delay, let's delay. Let's get more answers, because this is all hypothetical, right? At the end of the day, we have no clue what's going in there. That's a big old McDonald's if we're talking about that.
We do have a clue. Okay. It has to be within the commercial zoning requirements.
Okay.
So if you read through those, that does narrow it down to the commercial zoning requirements. Mm-hmm. So it is very, very common when we're zoning something. Like if I zone a commercial is a little bit less understood because it's not like R1. You know exactly what R1 is, right? It's going to be a single family house, right? So this is commercial zoning. Mm. We can do it. The owner can move forward with anything within those boundaries. They often don't have any end user until those boundaries are set. And that's why the cart before the horse.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit.
Education piece. I'm not.
No, I appreciate education, and I think we saw things run a little bit differently when we talked about the annexation over on 20th, the annexation of 20th. When we talked about the industrial parkway over there, of how we gathered all those businesses to come along in that regard, and I don't see that kind of that rallying cry of businesses wanting this development.
It was the same process in which that had to be annexed first, which went down the interstate, right? Similar to this, and then it had to be zoned. And at the time they said, hey, we want an industrial park, right? We want something industrial. We don't know what it's going to be. So it's similar in the fact that it has to meet the parameters it's being zoned for, but we don't know, is it TA, is it trucks, what it is. It just has to meet those parameters. And us as a body, that's all we have legally to move forward on.
For the land use.
Right.
Land use.
And I hope that, I guess my eyes are open that maybe the audience thought that was being dismissive of the person that was asking this question.
For that.
I'll say that for myself, I was thinking on the fly, maybe, so it could be that. Because I think procedurally, I outlined how procedurally the contiguous annexation versus non-contiguous. Non-contiguous has an extra step. So procedurally, it's a little bit easier.
Right.
But it really depends on the request. Because what I would say is that if you have somebody come in and say, well, I want, to request to be annexed and I want to put in, grandma's farmhouse, everybody's going to be okay with it, right? And then if you come in and say, I want a nuclear power plant, you're not going to be okay with it. So it's really more about what requests would come. So it's a little bit speculative.
Right.
I get. If you look at what's here, it doesn't seem as controversial as the concern of what's next.
Right.
Exactly. I think if I hear everybody, that might be a common theme, not a universally theme, but maybe that what is being requested here doesn't have as much, has concerns, but not as much as what don't we know.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we spent, I don't know, a good 20-something minutes just discussing one parcel as because of, lights going into several neighbors' hoods, and we knew what was going inside there. Yeah. And we've got, hundreds of acres here of just big question mark. So yeah, we're all just, concerned about what's next. You're exactly right. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I need to repeat my name again?
Yes, please.
Okay, John Ellis, Lower River Road, Charleston, Tennessee. I do appreciate your time. Thank you. I kind of went in the stream of consciousness flow there, but I did want to bring something up, and I would like to bring this to your attention and ask the people in attendance if that's possible. And it goes back to the signs. We beat these signs to death, and I don't mean to be redundant, but how many people called the number on that sign? And how many people got a call back or an answer? And straight across the board from what I heard is 0. And the people that did get calls back got them on the drive here today. So, if you're not aware of that, would you ask them? I think that's important, because one of the things that we're beating to death here is our lack of information. And I think that is quite transparent, but I think anybody that's familiar with Wright Brothers, going back to Robert and now Steve, knows that's not Wright Brothers scale construction. That's not how they got where they are. That's just a piece of a puzzle. That's not Walker, that's not Volkswagen, that's not multi-state construction. But back to the point, ask them. Look into that. How many people called the number on the sign that was there, that was incorrect, and then the ones that were put up on the 12th that did have the information, and had anybody talk to them? I didn't.
Everyone on our list got a call today.
Today. Exactly. That's my point. Do you realize how much information this is taking? I mean, it's kind of staggering, and we've been doing our best to understand this. We've been doing our best to do our homework. We've looked on ArcGIS. We're relying on you guys to speak for us and decide for this. But yeah, we got calls today. Is that adequate time to consume this kind of knowledge? No, I haven't got a call.
I didn't get a call.
Yeah, so most of
it. It's not.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Part of Planning Commission's function is to gather information. That's why we are a recommending body. So I think this is part of the step. I do think you're, if if you're finding out information today,
Well-
it's not. So I agree with you, but this is part of the.
The Ernest family that's here
process.
has a tremendous amount of property at stake, as does many people in this room. And to get a call, no call, or a call on your drive here when you're already, I mean, you talked, and I appreciate you doing that, kind of explain us the process, because most of us are not familiar with this process. I did not have a clear idea of what, I really thought I'd be sitting here listening today. And then I really expected more people that have, you know, a voice in this, who are bordered up to these properties that are being proposed, to be here and speak. And I'm disappointed that there's not people here. You're probably not, because it would last for days, because at a community level, this is big to us. And I think you're going to find yourself in a fight from beginning to end, regardless. It may take place after annexation, but regardless, we were not informed. And I went to the government website, City of Cleveland, nothing. Called the number, nothing. Most people did not receive a call back, and those that did got it today. And that's not right. And thank you.
Hello, it's Brandon Marie again. And I do have some questions I would like you to explain, because like he said, well, you're not always informed of this process. But under the Tennessee land use law, you cannot access without the official adopted plan of services, correct?
That's what.
And there's like 5 factors in that, which is the emergency services, road maintenance, utilities, logistics, and traffic. You got your urban growth plan from the city. You got your cost benefit analysis, and that's really one I'm really wanting to talk about, because if y'all proceed with a vote today and vote on this, it's because I assume that you had this cost benefit analysis already. We have not seen it. I would ask her if y'all are willing to publish what y'all are looking at to make these determinations, because that is part of the law in your voting and under your duty, correct?
Yeah.
And number 5 on that is the impact of public and the health, right? I mean, that's the 5 factors, I mean.
So there is a plan of service document, and I'm sure it is available or could be made available. Yeah, it's in the agenda, so it's all in there.
So I could have a copy of that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
One on the table right over there, or you can scan the QR code.
Okay, I was just wondering, I mean, because I thought it would be attached to the agenda today, so we could have a chance to view that like we do the agenda, but it wasn't attached. Because sometimes, you know, the documents are attached to the agenda for the items, correct?
Yeah.
But that one was
think
not
it's quite
attached in the
large, but
portal?
It's available
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's on the previous version of today's agenda.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
That one doesn't have.
And, but that was pretty much my question. But the only other comment I've made with the industrial that's already there in that area is that being ran on these back county roads, and that's not city roads, but you're about to expand city roads into the area. But these transfer trucks, these dump trucks, practically running the school buses off the road, because these roads are not narrow or big enough to handle the traffic for the commercial that's already in the area. And if you bring more commercial business or industrial business into the area, I don't see how the infrastructure is even going to support it. But I asked that if you could take the time to postpone over a tea room, that you would take the time not to just pass this on to city planning, but to actually leave this on your desk and postpone it till we are all more informed. Thank you.
Ms. Ernest. And just if anybody else wants to speak, just anything new or new questions.
Yeah. I'm Carolyn Ernest. My concern, I have lots of concerns, but one of the concerns is for the services. I know that according to what has been stated here, that there's a plan to put a fire department and a police department and ambulance, you know, the whole 9 yards there. And it's currently not there. And I can attest, my house burned 8 years ago, and attest that the county was able to service and, you know, did the best they could to save my home. But the closest fire department would be Eureka, and but you know, if the whole purpose of the Wright brothers wanting this annexed is so that they could put fast food restaurants or a small, another truck stop or whatever, there's the Love's truck stop there that has the McDonald's and a Subway. There's a Hardee's across the interstate. Harry's has built there. And there are some things that are there that currently are not in the city limits, that they don't need sewer. So my question is, what is the urgency to go to the expense of and it's a huge expense, to put all of those services there, to add something that they could add without having to put those services there? I mean, that's a huge expense for the city of Cleveland to take on as okay, you know, in the future, we might have a Holiday Inn Express built there or whatever in the future. But in the present, the city's gonna spend, $20 million to put in fire and EMT and sheriffs and city police there, and have that, that's a huge upfront expense that you don't know what you're going to get back and when you're going to get back. That's huge. And I would think that would be a big factor in your mind. I would hope so anyway. But I can just tell you that the services, for that area are not, we have to wait a little bit, but we're being serviced by the county. But there are some things there that are currently considered commercial property that are already in existence without having to be placed within the city limits, because then you're going to provide sewer, water, electric, garbage, whatever else, all of the things that go with the city. And yeah, you're going to get a little tax money back, but in the big picture of things, you're going to spend a lot more than you're going to get back for unknown property. And sure, the Wright brothers have the equipment. They can do whatever they want to with land. That's not the issue. And they can build whatever they want to. They've got the equipment and the manpower. And they're the ones that'll profit from it, not the city of Cleveland. So I think the cost way outweighs what it would benefit the city to annex it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Clarification, I'd just like a clarification.
You said your name again, please.
Janie Bishop. Posting the annexation signs are to be put up 21 days prior to
the public hearing, which is the city council vote.
the first public hearing's today,
Yeah,
according to the state website.
Yeah. I'll say we'll have everyone look into the posting, the timing. That's not something we have any knowledge of. So we've heard that, we wrote it down, and I think it's in everyone's best benefit to get that right. But we're just going to move on from that and look at the merits, which may still be delayed. But yes, I hear you.
Dan Rolls, just one more thing. Of the annexations or the zoning changes that you approve, what is the percentage of those that the city actually approves? So if is it 9 out of 10? Is it 99 out of 100?
Think like me, but they don't. So I don't know.
We've had major disagreements.
We've had disagreements.
But I mean,
most I will say most requests are very straightforward. So most requests are straightforward and universally, there's a lot of unanimous approvals from this commission and city council just because they're
cut and dry.
They're pretty cut and dry.
They're obvious.
So that kind of statistic really isn't. It won't show it. So
I'm gonna make a motion to delay or postpone.
I second.
Yeah.
Not now.
Any more discussion on the motion?
I'm gonna vote no because the applicant has played by the rules. The issue I hear is the next issue. Your issue is the next issue. Is this a piece for that? It could allow that. There's other options out there. You can fight now, that's fine, and people can push back. He has followed the rules. If this were not contiguous to issues that are in this room, that have been brought up in this room, this would be already done and dusted. It would go to the city council. There would be nobody here. I don't think it's fair to the applicant. He's playing by the rules. He's operating, or they are operating within. This is how we do business. We invest. The money isn't just that we get $40,000 now in FAR undeveloped land. We get, the city makes an investment and it returns immensely over time when the developments come. It's not just the property taxes on undeveloped land, the $40,000 that's in the plan of service. The plan of service, you got 8 years for that to happen. We work with these developers. We do this all the time. I think they play within the rules. I'm not looking for a delay on any of these three.
Bill, I agree with you. I'm going to vote no on the delay as well. I mean, I voted no on the Ponderosa
I did too.
for a lack of a critical mass. And you know, when the city decides, and the city council did decide that this was a growth area, they met jointly, city, county, utilities, put up a growth plan, defined the areas that the city would grow. This is fully within that. I look at, you've got an interstate interchange that's defined as a growth area, and you've got a state highway. Just looking at the request that's being made with general commercial, it seems very straightforward. That, you know, it's not even highway commercial, which allows more intense commercial uses. It's office, it's restaurants, it's retail. You're taking former Bowater forested property on a state highway by interstate interchange, and you're asking to make it commercial. I do get that we don't know what the plan is. You know, sometimes we do have PUD zonings, which does define the plan a little bit better. That would be great. I would actually prefer that. If they don't know, and I mean, just looking in the future, like you can just see how these interchanges develop. It's gas stations, it's fast food restaurants, and then from there it takes off into something else. This parcel by itself is pretty isolated as far as our rezonings go. I 100% get the concern about what's next, and I think we just tackle what's next when what next comes.
May I say that I seconded the motion to delay. We're not denying, we're just delaying till more information can get out. Yeah, it would come back in a month, wouldn't it? If we delay.
But I heard, I feel like 20 people say the same thing. The reason I pushed it back.
Name's Tim Jackson.
So
You guys didn't do your half.
any other, so we're closed for public comment. Is there any other comments from the board?
Since I made the motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree 100%. I agree with Bill. That this is something that, I mean, rezoning, I do convert, like, I'm not against it. I'm saying we need to postpone, because I felt like 20 people say the same thing over and over, and people being ignored is absolutely ridiculous. And it's something our city needs to do better than. I mean, you get on Benton, Tennessee's website right now, and it'll be more modern and up to date than ours is. To me, that's ridiculous. And I feel like I heard the same thing. That's why I said we need to push it back. But now this, I'm 100%, it's straightforward. Bill, Ben, both, I agree with there. It's just really the issue I had nothing to do with this. It's the people that I felt like I heard 20 people say the same thing. So that's why the mayor, I feel like said the same thing. That's where I am. I don't know where she is, but
yeah. And I stand, you know, this is an informational gathing opportunity.
Well, no, it's not the first time that people should hear it, Ben.
It's not. It's not.
Damn, we can't even get a sign right. Help. I mean, I'm embarrassed, really. Anyways, go ahead.
Thank you.
No, no. And we'll see where it goes.
Robert, may I ask you a question? This will not come on the 24th unless you can verify all state law has been met.
That's correct.
Okay, any other comments?
So to be clear, just so that everyone can understand, including my small brain, that everything regarding the sign and the posting needs to be done in the 21 days before city council, not necessarily this meeting. Is that correct? Is that the law?
First hearing, first public hearing, and that's today.
Yeah, I've struggled with that as well, and I've been told that this is more of an informal thing. I don't know, but
The
public hearing is city council, because that's where the decisions are made.
Is there a clarification about what public hearing is?
It's right here today.
I mean,
We'll see where this goes, and then I think what you're saying is that issue is going to be 100% clarified before it goes to city council, and that's where the decisions are made.
And I'll just say this, everybody's getting irritated, that's fine. The public hearing, state law is a legislative decision. This is a recommending body, and technically, they don't even have to let you talk.
Well, I know that.
So, they are just making a recommendation. We prefer more public involvement, and that's why we've been here for hours now and having these discussions. But the public hearing is at the legislative body that makes those decisions.
Can I ask one more question, please?
There's a motion on the floor. Let's
In a second.
go through in a second. If there's any more comments, we'll vote on the motion that's on the floor.
What is the motion on for?
To delay. The motion is to delay. All right, will you please call the roll?
Clark Taylor,
Yes.
Merrill Elliott,
Yes.
Blake Allison,
No.
Ben Berry,
No.
Jerry Castile,
Recuse.
Bill Estes.
No.
All right, so motion to delay is denied. Is there an alternate motion?
I move that we approve the plan of service for the 385 acres, parcel 12, as written.
Second.
Any comments? All right, please call the roll.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Blake Allison,
Aye.
Clark Taylor,
Now, how do I vote on? I'm not against denying it, but for other reasons, I said I wanted to delay it.
This is just a motion purely on whether you approve or deny the plan of service.
Yes.
Ben Berry,
Aye.
Jerry Castile,
Recuse.
Merrill Elliott.
No.
I move for annexation of the same property.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Bill Estes,
Aye.
Blake Allison,
Aye.
Clark Taylor,
Yes.
Ben Berry,
Aye.
Jerry Castile,
Recuse.
Merrill Elliott,
No.
Bill Estes.
Aye.
Oh, all right.
All right, item K is to rezone from FAR to CG.
I make that motion with full understanding that CG, what it allows and does not allow.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Bill Estes,
Aye.
Blake Allison,
Aye.
Clark Taylor,
Yes.
Ben Berry,
Aye.
Jerry Castile,
Recuse.
Merrill Elliott.
No.
All right, item 6 and 7, they're on a chairman's report, director's report, so we will adjourn. This will go to city council on potentially August.
So what does that mean?
Thank you for coming and speaking.